Hello to all my subscribers. Well, another season has passed. Can you believe that? A 12-win season and a win in Philly in the first round of the playoffs before losing to eventual Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. I think you have to be pretty happy with the season considering all the injuries that happened throughout the year. The year got off kind of to a weird start when we heard that Greg Papa would be out for the year for medical reasons. But the good news is Greg is doing great, and we expect to see him back at the microphone in the September when the season starts for 2026. If you're listening, Greg, we miss you and we look forward to your return. I do want to say thank you to all the fill-in commentators. That would be Carlos, Justin, Troy, Jack, and Guy. In fact, let's bring in one of those voices. The guy who did most of the calls, Guy Haberman. Welcome, Guy.
Thanks, Gerald. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for all your great work this year too. It was a lot of fun to go back and watch your videos, and yeah, it was really great. So I appreciate everything you did. How you did it so fast that you should do a Gerald secrets
Oh,
video, because I'd love to watch that one too.
oh, trust me, it's more complicated than you even want to know. But no, I really enjoyed your work this year. I know my followers did as well, and so thanks again for coming in for a few minutes. Um, there, so I know you spent your teens in Davis, California, and curious, how did you get your love of sports? Did you play sports? Did were your parents or your siblings an influence in your love of sports?
Yes, I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger sisters, but my dad was in the Air Force, and we started out. We were living in Maryland right after I was born. I was born in Israel. We moved to Maryland, and John Miller was the voice of the Orioles. And further back than I can remember, they tell me, the stories of my dad would come home from work and or from school, and we would need to go play catch. So, starting there, I used to go to sleep listening to John Miller call Orioles games, and then we moved around the country, and then we moved out to California in '99, and there was John Miller. So, I was back to listening to, and wherever we moved, I was cutting out box scores and doing all that kind of stuff. So then we moved to Davis, and yeah, I loved playing baseball, and primarily that was my favorite sport growing up. Played a lot of pickup basketball. Always had a hoop in the driveway, that sort of thing. And when I got cut from the Davis High baseball team, my dad was like, "You got to go find something else to do." So I called up the local television station in Davis, because somebody's dad would Mr. Gamble would film the game and then put it on television on Wednesdays. So I said, "Do you need anybody to talk over it because it's silent?" And they said yes, and that's how it started.
Wow, that's a good story. I didn't know that you had seen John Miller in the Maryland days, but I really admire the work of play-by-play guys, color commentator guys, and strangely, even stadium PA announcers. In fact, one of my favorites
Mm.
is Roy Steele. Are you familiar with Roy Steele?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, the voice of God. So
Voice of
many of
God. Yeah.
many people probably don't know him by name, but I'm sure you've heard your voice if you've been to an Oakland Athletics game. In fact, when I was younger, I would always get a tape recorder and I would pretend I was doing a play-by-play game or something that was on TV, and me and my buddy would do it. And another thing I used to do was I would pretend I was Roy Steele, and when I put the tape recorder on and I'd say, "Ladies and gentlemen, any foul ball hit into the seats is yours to keep. But anyone entering the field of play will be subject to arrest and ejected from the park. The Oakland A's thank you and enjoy the game. Now, leading off the bottom half of the first inning, number 24, Ricky Henderson, left field." And
That's
I would
good.
do that. I would do that over and over with different players, but he was one of my favorites. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I loved.
so
I don't remember what was his last year doing A's games. For me,
uh, yeah, late mid 2000s, I think.
okay. So when I was younger, we used to go to games, but Dick Callahan, who was the A's public address announcer when I worked around the A's every day, was wonderful, a wonderful person, and he would always end with, "And please drive home safely."
um, Did you ever do that when you were younger?
No, I
Your
don't
tape
maybe
recorder?
once or twice, but I don't. Oh, into a tape recorder? Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Used to do
uh,
a lot of
yeah,
stuff into a tape recorder.
yeah. I spent a lot of time with the tape recorder, and one of these days, those tapes are going to show up, and they're going to embarrass me. But
Same.
yeah. But well, if you could talk a little bit about your experience with the 49ers on and how the conflict maybe with the Big Ten Network, maybe the travel conflicts, and just your experience in general, maybe working with Tim Ryan. And I don't know how much you got to talk with Greg Papa, but talk a little bit about that experience this year.
Yeah, I talked a lot with Greg. I know him well. So I mean, that was the real initial conflict was that, hoping that Greg could come back. And eventually he did week 18. Didn't get a touchdown, which was wrong. And I don't think he's unsung, but the hero of the year was then Tim Ryan because he had so many moving parts around him. And I had no doubt after working with him in the preseason, you can tell pretty quickly who's an analyst that's adaptable and who's not. And he's an excellent analyst and he's an adaptable analyst. So he did a great job. But to your point, I also do Big Ten Network college football, so that created some. I didn't do there were a lot of games I didn't do too, for the Niners, and um, there was I can't. I was just telling my wife about this yesterday. I can't remember. There was a week where I went to Maryland, to Rutgers, to Maryland, three straight weeks, and one of them I had a 6 a.m. back for a Niner game. And I got a little sick that week, but so I got into a little more electrolytes and just you really have to prepare yourself to travel. But it was fun. I mean, doing both was fun. I love college football. I love the NFL. I always give my buddies who do NFL a hard time. So I'm like, it's so easy. Number 54 was just he's number 54 and he's been number 54 for the last 9 years. College football, it's two 54s and they're both new this year. So from that standpoint, it's the NFL is really fun because you just recognize everybody. They're all big and all that. But we got some amazing games. It was an amazing season to be a part of. Um, the Rams Thursday night game was amazing. The Bears game at home was amazing. The playoff game against Philly was amazing. It really struck me. And I've watched football like everybody else watching this their whole life, but doing it after doing college football for so many years, almost every game that we did was close. Maybe they weren't all great, but most of them were close. The Jags game, you wouldn't have said that's a great game, but it was a close game. And it's every week. Every week you're getting more close games than not, and that's a really cool experience.
Yeah, I think we were really lucky this year to win 12 games during the regular season with all the injuries and everything. It was a special year, and winning in Philadelphia in the playoffs was really nice. I was going to be disappointed if they lost the first game, but they won that one. I felt like the season was a success, and I know you were a big part of it. I know you did probably 7 or 8 games, probably. I'm thinking it's somewhere in that range, and we really appreciate it. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I know my followers really uh, enjoyed your calls. And if there's something you'd like to say to my followers, we can close it out with that.
Well, it was like I said, part of it was awesome to watch the videos. I've done this for a long time, and I thought I'd do a good job. And I always feel like when I leave a booth, like I have a pretty good idea whether I did a good job or not. But I I must say, like all the very people sent me a bunch of messages on my YouTube channel or on Instagram or on Twitter, and seeing a lot of the really kind things people said on your channel was appreciated. I know not every comment gets replied to or liked or any of that, but I saw a lot of it and it was really cool. It was to uh, call the games that Greg's supposed to be calling was conflicting for sure. And I think everyone that follows the team, follows your channel, follows the Niners, understood the whole dynamic. Everyone got it and was really supportive and cool, and it really meant a lot. So it was fun. I watched the videos with everybody else. I was a fan of your editing, and any of my friends I would send it to, or my family, like the talking heads at the end was always everybody's favorite. So thanks for adding your own spice to it. It was really cool. But yeah, I really appreciated everybody's support. Obviously, Greg is the one that I think everybody supported everybody. That was beautiful. I think I would try to give Greg support, but he would say, "Hey, you're doing a," like he would basically say, "It's okay, have fun." And I appreciated that from your subscribers and followers too. So it did not go unnoticed, and it was appreciated a lot. Really, really, really appreciated.
Well, it was a fun year, and I actually enjoyed all of the fill-ins. Troy, Justin, Jack,
Yep.
Carlos, and yourself. I thought you all did a fantastic job. And in kind of a selfish way, I hope at some point you become a permanent piece of the U.S. Bank 49ers radio network.
Thanks, Gerald.
You can follow Guy Haberman on YouTube, X, and Instagram at Guy Haberman. His YouTube channel is entertaining. Check it out. Well, that's it. Now that the 49er season is over, you'll probably see more horse racing videos now that the Kentucky Derby season is heating up, along with other videos like weather, just about anything I think is interesting. Thanks again for Guy Haberman for taking a few minutes. But most of all, thank you for supporting the channel, and we'll see you soon.